Hello and welcome to another video by Landcycle. In this video I'm going to show you very simply and very quickly how to start to create your own database. Now if you haven't done so already, please have a look at my how to set up your print system video, because it's important you complete that step before you start building your database. I mean, it's not critical, but I would strongly recommend you do it that way around. So the map is now in front of you. Now I'm assuming that you've also looked at a couple of the other videos and played around with the system and seen various things that you can do. But let's say I've driven past something and I think, oh, that's interesting, it looks like a property development opportunity there. I'm going to write to that. Now I know the postcode of the one that I'm interested in is this. So I've clicked on the address tab. Now the address tab is a direct address lookup. There is a small charge for that, it's 2p. Unfortunately that's what we get charged by Ordnance Survey address matching service, but it takes you directly to and helps you find the property in question. So I've now clicked on that, it's taken me exactly to the property that I've noticed, and at the moment I'm looking at this with a Google overlay, but I can equally change this to Ordnance Survey, which gives me this very detailed view, which I like because it means I can sort of see without the clutter and very accurately in terms of the boundaries, the distances, and it helps me identify properties which, you know, in my opinion, have development potential much easier using the Ordnance Survey data layer. Now, what I of course want to do is, apart from putting on all the constraints and check that it's, whether it's in greenbelt or whether it's in a floodplain or what have you, I then decide it's one that I'm interested in, I want to write to, and I would then click on the land registration layer, which then gives me a layer of all the titles, all the properties, and you'll notice that within this mapping layer there are different colours. So if you click on this little button here, like an upside down funnel, it then shows you the keys of what you're actually looking at. So in this case, the one I'm interested in is this one here, and it's owned by a company. Now that doesn't make any difference to my interest. It means that a developer perhaps already bought it, or a company owns it. It doesn't make a difference to me wanting to still write to that property, or it may do depending on your choice, your selection criteria. But for now I'm going to pursue that, and I think, yeah, I am interested in that, and I'm going to click on it. I'm going to get rid of this little thing because it's just blocking my view, and when I click on it you'll notice this panel pops up on the right hand side. Now this contains a lot of very useful information. It tells me the title number, it tells me that it's owned by a limited company, it tells me the address, it tells me whether it was bought or sold recently, and if it has been sold or bought recently, it gives me the price it was bought for and the date. It then also gives me a current estimate of its value. Now this is assuming all things being equal, this is based on a combination of Land Registry House Price Index and a combination of EPC, Energy Performance Certificate data, and then it looks at surrounding properties. In this case there's two within the postcode that it's pulled data from, and it tells me in this area I can expect resales to be around £529 a foot. Now this is, you know, pretty accurate information. This is based on historic sold prices plus inflated prices or deflated prices according to Land Registry indexation. I'll do another video on that later, but for now I'm just showing you what you would be looking for when you're making your identification. So we know, because it's owned by a company, this information is automatically available to you. You don't have to pay for this information, and it's owned by D&G Thames Digital Limited in this case. And I'm going to say, yeah, I'm really interested in that. I'm going to save that to my database. So up at the top here, having reviewed all this information that's available, not always the information is available. For example, a property that hasn't sold for a long time may not be registered because it may not have registered their sold price. So we can't always produce sold price data, but if it's available we can. Anyway, I'm interested, I want to pursue it, I'm clicking on the save button. Now, what you're presented with here is the information that you're then going to put, that's going to get created into your database. So the property address is this one here, title and address. I'm going to use that as my plot address, correct. I then can just check this information is right. I'm going to allow it to be contacted? Yes, I am. Okay, that's just looking at this. And then I'm going to write to, so the contact details are these ones here. So I'm going to write to the registered owner of this property, which is D&G Thames Ditton Limited, at this address, and I'm quite happy with that. Now, if you know the person's name, you would type it in here, for example. Or if you don't know the name, you can leave it blank. Now, I'll leave that in as I know the name. So I can either save that to my database and go back to it later to send it a letter, or I can save it now and send it a letter. So this is why it's important that if you've already set up your print system, you're able to do that. If you haven't set up your print system, you're not able to do that. So I have, and I'm going to select that I want to send it a letter instantly, and it's asking me to send it, do I want to send my default letter? So again, look at the how to set up your print system video, and then you choose, yes, welcome letter is the correct one on this occasion, this will be printed on this date. I can check the costs. We know it's going to be around 80-90p a pound, depending on, check the price list, and then I'm going to queue that letter to be sent. So that now is done. That will get a letter, and again, referring you back to my letter video, if you've scheduled follow-on letters, then you know now that I've sent this plot a welcome letter to the registered owner. I've also scheduled in my letter print system that that owner will get a letter in 30 days time, which we're calling the 1 month follow-up. And if you wanted to, you can reschedule 6 months letters, 12 months letters, and so on. But please go back, if you haven't already done so, and watch my how to set up your print system video, and it will show you how to do that. So that then is added to my database, and my database is accessible in 2 different places. One is here in the plots and contacts, or there's a quick view panel, which is this, what we call the hamburger, which is here, and that then shows you that that's been added to your database. Now you can either view the database entry there, or you can go via here and view it here. So there's the one I've just added. I click on it, and this is your database entry. So every time you add a plot to your database, this is what you're presented with. You're presented with the plot information, so you can see on the map where it is. You're presented with the contact details that's been automatically sucked in from the right hand panel, land registration derivative, and you can see I put Mr. Smith in there, which is correct. You may later find out his job title, you may later find out his phone number, you may later find out his email address, but for now we don't know. We're just writing him a letter, and we hope that he responds to it. So I'm going to close that. We've already sent a letter, so I don't need to send him another one. We close that. I go back into constraint information. So based on the constraints we have available on the system, if it overlaps with some of the key constraints, it will show you whether it's here, for example, in floodplain. No, it's not. Is it in a conservation area? No, it's not. Is it in greenbelt? No, it's not. Is it in an area? No, it's not. Is it conservation? No, it's not. So I'm happy with that. Thank you. I then go, if I've got any documents that I've either purchased or want to drag into the system, they will be available here. Now I can purchase the title from here. Cost is £3, as it would be from Land Registry, no VAT. But if I wanted to, I could have done that in the property panel before I even saved it to my database, in which case it would then populate that data into your database as well. Plot notes, so let's say, in this case I've sent him a welcome letter, that's the date that it's been sent. There's a reference of that letter. If you want to preview it, you can. You can delete it before the end of the day. We schedule letters to send out at the end of each day. I think they send out at midnight or 1 minute to midnight at the end of the day, so as long as you want to delete it before that cut-off point, you can. And then diary entries, so let's say he phones up, I can then say he called in, for example. I can then make notes, he said he would not be interested in, sorry about my spelling, my typing rather, interested, as a spell check. I'll do that again. Rushing, selling, etc., etc. And I can then obviously keep typing notes in there. I've still not done that right. Sorry. Oh, I corrected that. He's not interested in selling. Now you may decide that he's told you, but maybe in a year, for example, in a year's time. So that might prompt you then to go in and schedule a letter that you want to send to him in a year's time. But for now, I'll save that note. That's saved in there, and that's it. My database entry has been created. So later, when he calls up in response to the letter, you can then do a quick search, and you can just type in, he says, yeah, it's about the property in Grove Way, for example. I can then search that, and it brings it up here. Obviously, the more you've got in there, the more necessary this filtering service actually becomes. I need to refresh that to then get all my plots back. Now, so you can also, in your database section, create your own columns here. So we have contacting, because I'm actively contacting him. A plot that needs action, someone said, yeah, write me an offer letter or what have you, or come and have a meeting. Plots that have been agreed, the deal's been agreed and I don't need to keep sending it letters. Or a plot that's dead, they phoned up and said, never, 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 please take me off your database. You can then drag that over to the dead section. Now you can create your own columns here and what you want them to be about. And I'll show that to you in a different section later on. But this is flexible, it can go on and on, and it just helps you sort of keep your plots organised into your own criteria, as it were. I'm conscious this video is getting quite long, but hopefully that's given you enough now to give you the confidence of being able to go and create database entries. So again, I can go and, let's say if I'm interested in this one, I can just click around looking at opportunities that I'm interested in, and I can then literally click on it and send it a letter based on the information that I've got available here. So this one, for example, is telling me that this is a flatted scheme. I'm probably not going to pursue that one then, and so on and so forth. So this one might be interesting. I might be interested in both of these actually. There's a back garden opportunity here potentially. So this hasn't been sold in a long time. That's also interesting information in itself. Based on comparable data, we know this is a £679 a foot area. That's exciting. So yes, for now I'm going to add that to my database, and I'm going to use, now this is also important to note actually, so that's the address. I'm going to use that as the plot address, and I'm going to use it as the contact address. Now that's gone over the line there, so make sure you correct this, put it back up like that. Now, so it's going to go, in this case, if I hit save now, it would go to Dear Sir, Madam, just at this address, which is perfectly fine because you don't know the details. I'll show you in another video how to buy a title, and then that populates this with their details if you wanted to. So for now I'm going to just save that. I don't want to send it a letter yet. I'm going to leave that like that for now. Thank you. And it identifies that one is now in my database, and so on and so forth. So I can just go around looking at opportunities. I might say that's one there, and I can just literally save and send letters to my heart's content. I typically sit down and spend 1 or 2 hours each week or twice a week identifying opportunities and creating a database based on opportunities. Then I can go off and do my other things knowing that those plots are getting letters and they'll always get letters. Now, how you've invited them to contact you is something that you need to think about yourself, but we've got a call handling system which automatically saves calls, take notes, or sends them through to me. Something that you should think about as you're creating more and more databases and more potential contact points through letters. You might find yourself needing someone to help you answer your phone calls. So anyway, I think that's probably enough for this video. It's gone on a bit long, but hopefully that has given you some guidance into setting up your database. Thank you very much for watching. Look out for the next video. Bye bye.